just go ahead and conclude this. I'll conclude it and then sort of summarize it. But this is, the end of the nuclear state of the world. So there's 15,000 nukes total shared by 9 countries that have unilateral authority over their own nuclear weapons. And then you got 5 countries, 5 NATO countries, possibly Canada, possibly Greece. We know Israel, they keep it a secret, but it's like an open secret. So Israel's got 200 nukes. So we know that there's 9 nuclear countries: United Kingdom, the United States, Russia, and, 6 more. France, China. All 5 members of the United Nations Security Council are part of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. India, North Korea, Pakistan, and Israel are not part of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, but they also got nukes too. India, Pakistan, North Korea, Israel, the United States, Russia, United Kingdom, France, China. That's 9 nations. 9 nations that have a nuclear weapons, have a nuclear weapons arsenal, 15,000 total, with the United States and Russia owning 90%. So China, they're not going to drop the nuclear weapon first. They are against dropping a nuclear weapon and wiping out all of humanity. They don't want to bring in a nuclear winter and then wipe out all of life on Earth as we know it. It seems like it's mature and adult-like, but almost a child could understand, the danger of starting a nuclear fucking war. So since 1964, China has pledged that they will not drop a nuke first. I trust that. They're the only one in the United Nations Security Council that has pledged that they won't drop a nuke first. So they got them. They've never used them. They're, for defensive reasons, so they're not going to start a preemptive, aggressive war. So I just find that just amazing that the United States, Russia, France, and the United Kingdom hasn't been responsible and mature when it comes to nuclear weapons, and China's the one that's, leading essentially the sense of right and wrong. Hey, hey, world, can we not wipe ourselves out? Can we, not wipe out life as we know it with the nuclear winter? Can you not start a nuclear, war, please? Can you not? And then out of India, North Korea, and Pakistan, and Israel, India and North Korea have also pledged to not drop a nuke first. So North Korea, Kim Jong-un, China, Kim Jong-un, even with all their totalitarian human rights violations, they are leading the world in morality when it comes to nuclear weapons, and India. Okay, so out of the 9 countries, only 3 of them have adopted this no first use policy. China since 1964, India since 1999, and North Korea since 2016. So those are the 3 countries that have adopted the no first use policy. Now, for Russia, let's see, in 1982, Leonid Brezhnev had declared a no first use policy for Russia. So they were on the right side, but then in 93, they dropped the no first use policy pledge. So that's under Bill Clinton. So in 82, Ronald Reagan, I guess, was able to get Russia to say, hey, we're not going to, or no, we've never had a no first use policy. So Brezhnev, again, Russia was taking a good leadership role in 82, but then they went ahead and did what America and Pakistan and all these other countries that have not pledged, a non-first use of nuclear weapons, which means that there's 3 countries that have promised. Anybody can promise it and break it, but if someone's not even promising, I could say, if I'm the president of the United States, I could say, well, I'm not going to be, the president that starts a nuclear war. I'm not going to be the first, person to drop a nuclear bomb. And if I, say that, then is that going to bring about any bad changes? I just feel like I'm not going to be the president that drops the first bomb, that wipes out all of humanity. That's a common sense thing. China and North Korea and India have pledged it. The other countries, so they have promised it, right? So if you promise something, then, maybe if I say I'm not going to do it, maybe I will, maybe I won't. But if I say, well, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Is that better? Yeah, I guess you'd rather know the truth, right? Oh, did you sign a fake treaty? I pledged to the world that we wouldn't do it because in most circumstances, I think that's a good general rule. So there's some circumstances with, possibly conventional warfare, if everybody's just, about to take over the United States and we just, pop one off or something. I can see something like that, but I feel like it's a good general rule and it's a clear focus policy so the world can understand it, and that means it'll be a policy forever. Elizabeth Warren had introduced it. She talked about it at the second Democratic debate, the first night of the second Democratic debate. She had mentioned it. Adam Smith, they had introduced a bill called the No First Use Policy or the No First Use Act earlier this year, 2019. So this is just a fucking genius idea. So which country is going to drop a nuke first? Not North Korea. There's a better chance that China, out of all of them, will never start the nuclear war. For 55 years, they've been very consistent. They don't get engaged in the nuclear arms race. India has pledged that they won't be the country that drops it first. So India, North Korea, and China are at least saying the right things. Now, France, the United States, the United Kingdom, Russia, Pakistan, and Israel, all these nations say, well, we believe in a first-use policy. You never know with us. So which of these nations is possibly going to be the first, one to drop a nuclear bomb and start the nuclear winter that wipes out life as we know it? It could be the United States. It could be my own fucking government. It could be the Russian government, the UK government, France, China. Not China. So France, the United Kingdom, Russia, U.S., 4 out of 5 on the Security Council, and possibly Pakistan and Israel. So those 5 countries are not saying the right thing at all, not even close. So that's pathetic. It is pathetic that we're losing a morality debate with North Korea. So, Russia, let's see, in 2000 they said they reserved the right to use nuclear weapons in a response to a large-scale conventional aggression. I agree with that. Okay, we all agree that we're not going to use nuclear weapons, and yet you're being invaded and you're about to be eliminated. You got a right to, throw everything except for the kitchen sink. If you're, seriously the victim, if you're seriously the victim, you're the oppressed. You're not starting the wars. You're the ones that's finishing them. So I see that's why they're not part of the no first use policy. But America's policy is that we maintain no nukes are ever going to be dropped in the world. So we're the world's policemen when it comes to nuclear weapons. We're going to make sure nobody in the world drops a nuke. That's our policy, and the no first use policy would reinforce our policy, encourage other nations to do the same thing. So if we don't want nukes dropped, then we would want less countries in the world that are saying, hey, France might be the first country. United Kingdom might be the first country to drop a nuke. The United States might be the first country to drop, a nuke in an aggressive, preemptive manner. We were defending ourselves, right, with World War II. So that's a legitimate use. But to say no first use is to say we're not going to start the nuclear, war, the nuclear holocaust. So there's several reasons to set the example, to be the role model for the world. If we put the world in the right direction, less nukes, and less people seriously thinking about using nukes. Jesus. We should never initiate a nuclear war. We're the premier empire of the world's lone superpower, so since we're already got all this massive military power, it would just be a good example to set for the rest of the world, and then by setting an example, we could get other nations to follow our example. So there's 9 countries, 3 of them have adopted the no first use policy, 6 of them are still for the first use policy. So by, us declaring it, then now there's 5, and then if we could get the other 5, well, at least everybody's talking the right way. Okay, we're not talking 6 of the 9 countries are not talking the right way. 6 of the 9 nuclear nations are saying, they'll use them if they got to. So, Jesus Christ, every country in the world should probably get a nuclear weapon, right? Because 7 countries or 6 nations that have nuclear weapons might start this big nuclear winter. For self-defense reason, get a nuke, right? And so China, man, I'm just very impressed with China. For 55 years, they've said, we're not going to drop the first bomb. We're not going to have a preemptive strike. NATO rejects the no first use policy. They said that preemptive nuclear strike is a key option. Okay, great. America, NATO, Germany, right, Belgium, and the Netherlands, and Italy, and whoever the other one is. So NATO says they might drop the first nuclear bomb. So not only will America, possibly do it, or Russia, or Pakistan, so we're in the same league with Pakistan, and Pakistan or let's see, Israel, right? Israel, Pakistan, United Kingdom, France, Russia, the United States. Those are the countries that might drop the first bomb, or NATO, or NATO. And NATO can't do anything unless we activate it, but you never know. I bet you some of them have the access codes. So, Belgium might have a nuke. Canada and Greece might have one or two nukes. So, Germany had proposed to NATO the 16th NATO summit, April 1999, to adopt a no first-use policy, but NATO rejected it. So Germany is stepping up. That's where the Nazis came from. But Germany is saying, hey, let's adopt a reasonable and adult and mature position when it comes to these fucking weapons that could wipe all of us out, motherfuckers. Shit. So some people say against biological and chemical warfare. So if a country is using biological and chemical warfare, massive conventional military strike. So, I think that there are a few exceptions, but I think it's a good general rule. It's a good general rule. And then, the concerns of Pakistan is not the same concerns as us. I'm not worried that Canada, with their one nuclear bomb, is going to do anything, or Russia. And so, the threats, we have a greater insulation because we got these two big-ass oceans. And so I think we can, we should never initiate nuclear war. Anyways, we're the premier empire, the world's lone superpower. If we start acting right, then perhaps other people start acting right. Also, by having the no first use policy, we preserve the right to a second strike. So we're not saying we don't have a right to defense. We're saying that once you use the bomb, then we're going to, definitely use ours. So by saying we're not going to use it first, yeah, it's a peaceful, peacenik, dove, hippie-like thing. Right, if we can't drop the bomb, we're all going to be singing Kumbaya, huh? Yeah, can we fucking grab hands and sing Kumbaya instead of, wiping out all fucking humanity? Shit. So, the policy is to make sure no nukes are dropped in the world, but I don't feel like being belligerent and being crazy with their fucking nukes is helping anything. Maybe for weak people, might be, oh no, they might use the nuke first. We wouldn't do it. The whole world would be pissed off. It'd be crazy if we did. So, it's kind of our policy anyways, right? If we were saying we might be first, well, we hadn't been first. I guess we were first. But for 70 years, we never started an aggressive war with nuclear weapons, so we've actually enforced the no first use policy. So by pretending that we don't use it or we don't enforce it, or we're being strategically ambivalent like Israel, maybe we have 200 nukes and maybe we do, and maybe we might use them and maybe we will. Maybe Israel will be the first one to drop some. Kim Jong-un says he'll never drop the first bomb. China says they'll never drop the first bomb. India says they'll never drop the first bomb. But what does the Queen say? I heard that the Queen is the Commander-in-Chief of the UK British Forces. That's not a ceremonial position. She's in charge of the fucking military. So that's who would drop the bomb, the fucking Queen. So the Queen might be the person who, wipes out all of humanity. That's an awesome amount of power to give to, maybe the Queen might drop the bomb, Russia, maybe Putin might drop the bomb, France, maybe, who's leading for Macron? Maybe Macron might be the one that ends it all in the world. Pakistan, Chump Cheese McGee, and then Israel, Netanyahu. Maybe Netanyahu might wipe us out, Putin, maybe Macron. Maybe the Queen, maybe Donald, who knows? We got like 6 countries that could start a nuclear war that wipes out all of humanity. So, fun times, who's it going to be? Should we take bets? Should we, pretend it's not a fucking threat to our, not just your very survival, but our fucking species, the survival of our goddamn species? Yeah, man, the damned human race, right? We're superior and better than all these other stupid animals. And yet, for some reason, we got it's like we want to destroy ourselves or some shit. The damn human race. So, as a species, aren't we supposed to, carry on in that, a biological, our instinctual Isn't that like part of our biological makeup that we want to keep surviving and living? I don't know, man. Is that just me? Is that just me? So, shit, yeah. So, yeah, Elizabeth Warren has a great idea compared to fucking Mr. Flippant. Oh, well, maybe we should use the nukes. Maybe we shouldn't use the nukes. Who knows? Anything else I want to say about this? China, fucking badass. You know, since 1964, they re-upped their commitment to the no first-use policy in 2005, 2008, 2009, 2011. So they're just fucking committed as shit to not destroying the entire goddamn world. They keep trying to get America to adopt the no first-use policy, but we're like, nope. We're intelligent militarily. And it's smart to possibly nuke a country first. Hey, you know, Somalia, you better straighten up. Didn't he just say that about Afghanistan? You know, we could wipe out Afghanistan with just, you know, a couple of minutes. Wow. Really? That's so flippant. You wipe out all of Afghanistan. You don't think China and Russia might be worried that you're dropping nukes, you know, on their neighbor? You don't think they might say, you know what? If they're doing preemptive shit, maybe we should do preemptive shit too. So, we have a right to second use, but first use, get the fuck out of here. That's stupid. It's been our policy anyways. And so, by adopting it, we're just declaring what's always been and what's the best policy anyways. It sets us on a nice, clear track of helping to lower the possibility of a nuclear war all around the world. So, adopt Elizabeth Warren's No First Use Act. Okay, America? Okay.